So today we'll start from zone. So what is a zone? So zone is a group of faces in a crystal whose edges are parallel to each other. That means we have to consider faces within a crystal whose edges will be parallel to each other. So this is a crystal. So we have to consider faces here so that their edges will be parallel to each other. If you consider all these four vertical faces, all these four vertical faces around front, back, right, left, all these faces and their edges. If you consider any of two edges or three or four, they all will be parallel to each other. ଯେକୌଣସି ଯେକୌଣସି ଦୁଇଟା ଏଜ୍ ହଉ ବା ଯେକୌଣସି ତିନିଟା ହଉ ବା ଚାରିଟା ହଉ ଯେକୌଣସି ଫେସ୍କୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ କନସିଡର କରିବା ଯେକୌଣସି ଏଜ୍କୁ ଆମେ କନସିଡର କରିବା ଦେ ୱିଲ୍ ବି ପାରାଲାଲ ଟୁ ଅଦର ସୋ ଏଇଟା କୁହନ୍ତି ଜୋନ୍ ସୋ ଆମକୁ ଏମିତି ଫେସ୍ କନସିଡର କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ ଇନ୍ ଏ କ୍ରିଷ୍ଟାଲ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ କି ଦେୟାର ଏଜେସ୍ ୱିଲ୍ ବି ପାରାଲାଲ ଟୁ ଇଚ୍ ଅଦର first we can say ki front face back face right and left. Okay, then we can also consider top, then front, then bottom, back, this one, then front one, then this one, then back one. So this also considered as a zone where edges are parallel to each other. So these are the edges. So in a crystal we have to consider faces in such a way that their edges will be parallel to each other. Then those faces will considered as need to be present in a particular zone. Understood? Then if you consider an axis through the center of the crystal, an axis through the center of the crystal, which will be parallel to all faces. But axis consider करिबो जोटा कि crystal ର center देखि जाउथबो आ सब face को parallel हो गोटे zone रो जते कि face रहउथबे गोटे zone रे सब face को parallel होतो देन ताको कहै zone axis. A zone axis is an imaginary axis that passing through the center of the crystal and will be parallel to all the faces present in a zone. So here, if we consider this, you can say c-axis. So it will be parallel to all the faces, that is front, back, right, left, all the faces. It will be parallel to all the faces. So this will be the zone axis, c-axis for the group of faces or for the zone. So এই zone पे तुम्हारा c-axis होची zone axis. The top, front, bottom, back. Top, front, bottom, back रहता है. A axis का B axis. এটা हमारा zone axis हो. For this zone, B axis is the zone axis. For this zone, C axis is the zone axis. The zone axis, it is symbolized like this. You have to represent a zone axis through the square bracket. ताको हमें square bracket represent करते हैं, जोटा represent करे it is the zone axis or it is an axis. So Konosuke Miller indices, when it is represented through square bracket, it will indicate an axis. ये कौन और indicate करेगा? Axis को indicate करेगा. Understood? Which bella? So zone axis पूछी. This axis, it is an imaginary axis, passes through the center of the crystal and parallel to the faces in the zone. And the zone, it is a group of faces whose edges are parallel to each other. Then some calculation. How we can calculate the zone axis of two non-parallel faces? If we have two non-parallel faces, then how we can calculate the zone axis? Suppose we have taken two non-parallel faces, H1 K1 L1 and H2 K2 L2. These two faces are not non-parallel faces, and their zone axis indices are U, V, and W. So how we will get UVW? So this symbol, square symbol, indicates zone axis. So how we will consider, how we will find out UVW? So first you have to write down twice the phase, H1 K1 L1. So H1 K1 L1 and H2 K2 L2. So first you have to write down H1 K1 L1 twice, then H2 K2 L2 twice. So H1 K1 L1, H2 K2 L2, then H2 K2 L2 and H2 K2 L2. Then discard the number at the both the ends, then do cross multiplication. We will get our UVW indices. So U will be calculated by K1 L2 minus K2 L1. V will be calculated by L1 H2 minus L2 H1. Then W will be calculated H1 K2 minus H2 K1. So it will give the indices of UVW. Understood? Which Bella? First you have to write down this. Then you calculate some. Suppose we have two non-parallel faces, 3, 4, 5, and 0, not 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, and not 1, 2. Now you calculate the zone axis of these two non-parallel faces. If these are non-parallel faces, अच्छी तारो zone axis करनी. So suppose हम पाखे दीटा non-parallel faces अच्छी. H1 K1 L1 H2 K2 L2. दीटा non-parallel faces. H1 K1 L1 and H2 K2 L2. तो आम जोन एक्सीस केमी काल्कुलेट करवा. सब जोन एक्सीस अच्छी कौन यू वी डब्ल्यू. तो फास्ट आम लिखा H1 K1 L1 को दी था. राइट डाउन H1 K1 L1 ट्वाइस, देन H2 K2 L2 ट्वाइस. H2 K2 L2 को भी दी था लिखा. H1 K1 L1 को भी दी था लिखा. एंड देन डिस्कार्ड बोथ द एंड्स. बोथ एंड रे जा रहा H1 H2 देन L1 L2 को डिस्कार्ड करियो. Then do cross multiplication. K1 K2 K1 L2 minus K2 L1 will give one indices, that is U. L1 H2 L2 H1, that will give another indices, that is V. H1 K2 and H2 K1, that will give another indices, that is W. So UVW to type of UVW is the zone axis, so it is that's why represented by square bracket. So now you calculate this 3, 4, 5 and 0, 1, 2. What will be the zone axis of two faces 3, 4, 5 and 0, 1? সেটা ক্যালকুলেট করি কুহ মতে। এবার 345,012, সো আমি 345 को की तरह लिखा 345, then again 345, 0 1 2 0 1, we'll exclude that at the end, then we'll do cross multiplication. So we'll get our three indices of zone axis. First u can be calculated. 4 into 2, 4 into 2 is 8, minus 5 with 3, v 5 into 6 minus 2 into 3, sorry it is not 6, then 5 into 0 it is 0, then 2 into 3 it is 6, so it will be minus 6, w 3 minus 0. The zone axis will be 3 6 by 3. To simplify it, it will be 1 2 per 1. If you multiply 1 by 3 in each indices, then we will get 1 2 bar 1. Understood? बुझपाला समझते हैं? We have 1 2 2 2 2 not the two faces, 1 2 1 0 1 1, not 1 1, 1 3 1 3 1 1 1 3. So now calculate. Suppose these are all are non-parallel faces. So now calculate the zone axis of these non-parallel faces. In similar way, we can also calculate a Miller plane or a face from two parallel non-parallel lines. These are non-parallel line हम पाके थोड़ा, these are non-parallel axis हम पाके. So we can also calculate one face, which is similar to that previous calculation. No, that is a similar calculation. So double throw लिखिबा, then last theta end to exclude करिबा, then multiply कले तुम्हारा plane बाहर. से केस में दीटा non-parallel faces रो गोटे axis बाहर करथले, एठी दीटा axis दीटा non-parallel axis रो गोटे plane बाहर. Then comes to the zone condition. The important one is if you have a face that is h1 k1 l1, যদি গোটা face is number h1 k1 which which lie in a given zone. There is a zone axis of U1, V1, and W1. So H1, K1 is a phase which lie in a zone U1, V1, W1. Then they must satisfy this condition. So if condition will satisfy U1 H1 plus V1 K1 plus W1 L1 should be equal to 0. So this is the condition, zone condition. If a phase is in a zone, then it must satisfy this condition. You can check here. This is a zone axis. This is the zone axis, and these phases are in a zone. So if you put the zone condition, that will be 2 into minus 2 plus 2 into 2 plus 0. So 2 into minus 4 plus minus plus 4. So zone condition, it will validate whether a phase lies in a particular zone or not. So तुम्हारे and तुम्हारा phase थिबे जो zone रे जो phase वाला zone से वाला थिबे, then we can calculate whether that phase will be in that zone or not. Understood? बुझपाला ना नहीं को? There are some calculation in crystallography. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ important ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି, ଯଦି ଆମ ପାଖରେ ଦିଟା ଜୋନ୍ ଫେସେସ୍ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ଗୋଟେ ଫେସ୍ ର ଦିଟା sorry ଗୋଟେ ଜୋନ୍ ର ଦିଟା ଫେସ୍ ଅଛନ୍ତି, then we can calculate what other phases will be in that zone. ଆଉ କୋଉ ଫେସେସ୍ ଗୁରା ବି ସେଇ ଜୋନ୍ ରେ ରହିବେ ଆମେ calculate କରିପାରିବା. That is called the addition rule. ଯଦି H1 K1 L1 H2 K2 L2 lie in the same zone, then their addition, that is H1 plus H2 K1 plus K2 L1 plus L2 will be in the same zone, or H1 minus H2 K1 minus K2 or L1 minus L2 will be in the same zone. So this was addition and subtraction. Theta phase to the zone में थे, if two phases are in a zone, then other additional phases can also calculated from the two phases. ये theta phase तुम्हें additional phase पे calculate कर परियो जो रहा कि सही zone में रहे. So H1 K1 L1 H2 K2 L2, just add them, they will get another phase which will be also in that zone. If you subtract them, there will be another phases which will be in that zone. बुझपाइला? ଏବେ ଯେତିକି ଫେସ୍ ଆମେ ନେଇଥିଲେ so phase ର addition of subtraction rule apply କର and what other phases will be in the zone, so that